After meeting her husband and his mistress in court, the woman requested to call an important witness to the courtroom. One Inga was a happy wife. She had imagined her life with Alexander, Sasha, as perfect. 2 wonderful children, a beautiful house, and a seemingly stable marriage. But one day, on a cool autumn evening, everything she thought was certain shattered. She was running errands for their family dinner when she stopped near his office to bring him a little surprise, a harmless gesture that would change her life forever. As she stood on the street corner waiting for a message from him, she suddenly saw Sasha, but he was not alone. He was with a young, attractive woman. They laughed, held hands, and then kissed. Inga's breath caught in her throat. Her heart pounded, and her stomach twisted in pain. This couldn't be happening. That was her husband, the man who had sworn eternal loyalty to her. When Sasha came home that evening, he acted as if everything was normal, as if nothing had happened. But Inga could no longer remain silent. With a trembling voice, she confronted him, and then the truth came out. Not only had he cheated on her, but his mistress Masha was also pregnant. But the worst part was not the betrayal itself. It was his reaction. He didn't want a divorce. He simply wanted her to deal with it. But Inga knew she never could. Inga was ready for the divorce, but she hadn't expected Sasha to fight so ruthlessly. He left no opportunity unused to portray her as a bad mother, claiming she was not stable enough to raise the children and demanding sole custody. But that wasn't enough. He also wanted to keep the family home and insisted that Inga and the children move out. His cunning and cold-blooded nature shocked her. The man she had once loved had now become her worst enemy. Desperate, she moved into a small rental apartment with her children, where she met Nikolai, her new landlord. He was a calm, charismatic man who immediately noticed that Inga was going through a difficult time. One evening, when she came home with tears in her eyes, he spoke to her. At first hesitant, then more openly. She told him about the divorce and the humiliations Sasha was putting her through. To her surprise, it turned out that Nikolai was not only a lawyer, but also an experienced specialist in family law. Without hesitation, he offered to help her, and so began the true fight for justice. With Nikolai by her side, the tide turned. He knew every legal trick to expose Sasha's lies and helped Inga stand her ground in court. Sasha quickly realized that his ex-wife was no longer defenseless, and that his arrogant plan to push her out of the children's lives was going to fail. But while Inga only wanted to protect her family, Nikolai already had a suspicion that Sasha was not just a bad husband, but also a ruthless businessman. And it was exactly this dark secret that would soon become the most powerful weapon in the courtroom. The courtroom was tense to the breaking point. Sasha sat confidently at the defendant's bench, his lawyer beside him, while Inga sat with a composed expression in her seat. She knew that this day would decide everything, whether she would retain custody of her children, whether she could reclaim her home, and whether Sasha would escape justice. His strategy was clear. He wanted to portray her as an unstable mother, supposedly incapable of raising the children alone. He presented himself as a successful businessman, a loving father who only wanted the best for his family. But Inga was prepared, and she had an ace up her sleeve. When her lawyer, Nikolai, stood up and announced that they wished to call another witness, Sasha seemed unimpressed at first. But when the name was mentioned, Anton Grigoriev, a former IT security officer at Sasha's company, the color drained from his face. Nikolai, in a calm voice, explained that this witness had new information that would call Sasha's credibility into question. The judge nodded and allowed the testimony. The door opened, and a middle-aged man with a serious expression entered the courtroom. He placed his hand on the Bible, swore to tell the truth, and then revealed what Sasha had desperately tried to keep hidden. Grigoriev reported that for months, Sasha had been selling company secrets to external businesses. He had illegally accessed confidential data and passed it on to competitors, a serious corporate crime. He transferred money to a secret account in Switzerland, Grigoriev said, handing over a stack of documents as evidence. The room fell into complete silence. The judge accepted the documents while Sasha hastily whispered to his lawyer. Panic spread across his face. His facade was beginning to crumble. The successful businessman who had played the role of a loving father in court was, in reality, a desperate fraudster who had risked everything to keep from being exposed. Sasha's lawyer tried to salvage what he could, but the judge ordered an investigation. There were now too many doubts about Sasha's character, especially regarding custody. Inga watched as Sasha slumped in his seat. He had not only lost his family, but also his reputation and his future. The court trial had changed everything. Sasha lost custody of the children, was forced to pay Inga her rightful share of the house, and was now also under criminal investigation for corporate crimes. His new relationship with Masha, the woman for whom he had betrayed his family, crumbled under the pressure. After giving birth to their child, Masha suffered from postpartum depression, and Sasha was incapable of taking responsibility. In the end, she left him, and suddenly, he was completely alone. His reputation was ruined, his once secure life in shambles. Inga, on the other hand, slowly found herself again. Nikolai, the lawyer who had helped her, became increasingly important in her life. What started as professional support evolved into a deeper connection. He was patient, understanding, and showed her that there were men who truly valued loyalty and respect. The children adored him, and for the first time in a long while, Inga didn't just feel like a struggling mother. She felt like a woman who was allowed to love again. Over time, she took the next step, building a life together with Nikolai. Sasha eventually left the city. Without a job, without a family, and without a future, he had nothing left. He tried to apologize to Inga, but she had already found her peace, not out of hatred, but because she had let go. Her new life was no longer defined by pain and betrayal, but by love, justice, and a true fresh start. While Sasha faded into insignificance, Inga finally began her new chapter, one she had more than earned. Inga's story shows that even the deepest betrayal is not the end. It can often be the beginning of something better. Sometimes we have to endure pain to realize who truly stands by our side. While Sasha lost everything that once mattered to him, Inga found not only justice, but also true love and a second chance at happiness. True strength lies not in revenge, but in letting go. Sometimes fate reveals itself on its own. You just have to have the courage to stand up for yourself. Those who live in honesty will be rewarded in the end. Those who live in lies will eventually be consumed by them. Did this story move you? Then leave a like and share it with someone who is going through a tough time. Subscribe to our channel and activate the bell so you don't miss more inspiring stories. What do you think? Does everyone deserve a second chance, or are some mistakes unforgivable? Let us know in the comments. Sometimes an ending is just the beginning of something new, and true justice comes on quiet feet.